sure that you are front and center for the introduction.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, I saw that.
So we're good? Good evening, everyone. Welcome to episode 2 of the Drunken Dice podcast. Joining me tonight are my usual great co-hosts, Jim and Peter. And I want to start the night off, guys, with the namesake of our podcast. What's everyone drinking tonight?
Oh, God. Let me go last. It's a long list.
Okay, I'm drinking Elijah Craig Small Batch. It's a good bourbon, especially one of the best you can get for the price. Nice and smooth, still has a nice little kick and great taste. If there's one that you want to either use or just have on the rocks or straight, it's a great one. Go check it out if it's around you.
I am doing something more boring this week. I'm drinking some Angry Orchard hard cider.
Peter is a white girl tonight. Great.
It's
Okay,
what was in the refrigerator.
So we got Karen over there.
Needs a fireball to go with it.
No.
So I've stepped things up with my Dungeon Meister cocktail book. And tonight we have a Barbarian Rage,
Ooh.
which contains 10 ounces of alcohol, an ounce spiced rum, amaretto, tequila, vodka, gin, blue curacao, light rum, black raspberry liqueur, melon liqueur, coconut rum, and then an energy drink.
So you just made a Long Island iced tea on steroids.
Yes, it's green.
Okay.
It is green.
If anyone wants to see us make some of these crazy cocktails, please let us know, because I'm sure we'd be happy to do that, because that seems like a lot. I'm also intrigued and scared at the same time.
These will probably get worked into the drinks with the DM videos
Ooh,
too.
nice.
So
That might
if
be
you
a good
want to
idea.
if you want to see how to make a bunch of drinks, not just the beer that I did for like the last 2 videos because they recorded them in the same day. I start those videos off by making a drink. We have at this point like Tequila Sunrise over there. I think that's the most complicated one, which isn't complicated, but we'll get more with this Dungeons and Dragons related book. And I used to be a bartender, so I'll be making drinks over there doing that. So.
I've never been an official bartender, but I'm usually always the one recruited whenever more than 4 people are gathered near me.
Except on my birthday. I apparently am the bartender on my birthday every year. I love it.
Because you refuse to let anyone drink shit.
I
don't
know.
think I've never made a mixed drink, so
You've never made a mixed drink?
I don't think so.
Well,
Okay.
that's gonna change for Friendsgiving this year.
Yeah.
You're definitely
Well,
gonna...
yeah, but
Yeah, Friendsgiving's gonna be fun. We're gonna be
It's
making
gonna be.
drinks. We're gonna make some videos, guys. I'm forcing it to happen. We'll all be there because we'll all be vaccinated. No more COVID preventing us from being there. We're gonna make some videos together. We're gonna drink some drinks. We're gonna make a fantastic turkey.
Oh yeah,
And
better mac and cheese.
Better mac and cheese.
and better stuffing, because I was so disappointed.
I can
with-
make my mac and cheese.
I'm making it this year because I didn't make it last year, and I need mine this year.
Redemption.
I didn't make it, so it's
None of us made it in this call. I love the man who made it. Unfortunately, it did not hold up to proper standards. I don't even think for him. I think he was disappointed by.
he was definitely disappointed, and I love him too. Like, I'm in his wedding. I love him too.
I'm not like that's why I'm not calling him out by name because I'm like no. Even he was like this wasn't my best. So
okay.
No shade thrown.
All right. So we've got a few things we want to do. This might be a long one. Bear with us. But the first thing, Jim had this idea of he wanted us to go into if we could pick a superpower and why. And the big part of this was the and why part. Because everyone has a talk, oh, if you could have whatever. But he wanted us to actually put some thought into it, which made me go have a migraine because I had to think about something for more than 5 seconds, and I didn't appreciate that. So I'm gonna go second. I'll let someone else go first, but I'm gonna go second.
Yeah, just like I've been thinking about this for a long time, partially because at my job I use 0 brain cells, and so I have time to think about things. So I'll go first because this is how it started. I was like thinking about the fact that we're in like 3 different states and it sucks. And so I was like, you know what? Screw all the other powers. Teleportation from Jumper. That movie, you've seen the movie Jumper?
Yeah.
Cool. For those of you who haven't, great movie. Check it out. Basically, if you can picture a place in your head, you can teleport there. And I was like, you know how great it would be? One, I could work wherever I wanted. Like, location of where I live to where I work, zero consideration, because I can live in Kentucky and work in Illinois if I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because all I have to do is put on my pants and shirt by like 8:25 Kentucky time, and then just appear at work, ready to go at 7:30 Illinois time.
I think we all would live somewhere with absolutely zero income tax.
Florida. It's warm, no income tax. It sounds like a great plan to me. But yeah, like and then on the other thing, I was thinking like, okay, if I want to go visit you, Alex, that's like a 6.5 hour drive for a weekend, like for a not long weekend, just a normal weekend. That is way too much. It's like 13 hours of driving for at most like 22 hours together.
Yeah.
And like, that's too much. Because I'm going to be dead for half of it trying to recover. And then I'm going to be dead for work the next day. And I could just be like, oh, I want to go see Alex. I'm at Alex's house. Or I want to go see Peter. He's at two more states away. Oh, we'll just go over to Peter's. We appear at Peter's. Obviously the front door, because I'm not rude. I wouldn't just invade someone's house, be like, just appear on Peter's bed, be like, hey, what's up? Okay, that's not true. I might do it to Peter, but not you, Alex. I respect you.
Let's be real.
Oh,
that has happened.
That has happened. Me and Peter used to be neighbors in college, and he would not be in his room. I would just go into his room, either lay on his bed or sit on one of his chairs and wait for him to come home.
Multiple times.
Like on a 3 to 4 times a week kind of deal.
Yep.
Say, we had a very similar thought process and all that, because I went the Marvel's magic, specifically that in the group of Doctor Strange, is the first thing I wanted to do was the portal specifically. And I liked the portal idea because I just create a portal, so I didn't have to worry about, carrying things with me. I just opened the portal to wherever I want to go, and now I can just bring whatever through it. I didn't have any limitations. It was just me doing it. And it essentially works the same, but there's a ring. It just doesn't happen when I think about it. I have to make it and then close it. I also liked it because it is essentially kind of like a limitless pool of possibilities, because there's so many books and knowledge, and especially like the different things of astral projection. Like when Strange gets to a point where he can just sleep at night, but then stay awake and do stuff. You know how useful that would be, that I wouldn't have to actually worry about sleeping for my body. I could still just do other stuff.
Wait, you guys sleep at night?
Yes.
Recently? No.
Or if I just I know my body's going to need it, I'm going to go put my body to sleep, and then I can continue with my mind doing whatever I want.
That's fair.
And then there's just all sorts of just uses and cool stuff that you could do with it. And it's not something as limited as I can punch things, or I literally have almost unlimited possibilities because just the amount of knowledge there is. And I actually get to think and do a lot of research and discover so many cool stuff with it. It's not just one of the things I get powers and boom, I have them. It's something I can continue to just keep going and doing. I think it'd be really cool.
That makes sense, but that seems like a lot of work. Studying.
If I have superpowers, I'm not doing actual thing. My work is now going to be this, and I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yes.
Shut up, cat.
You could probably make that cat shut up with magic.
Just astral project the cat. You go.
Knock it out of its body for a few minutes.
Ghost cat now.
Go bother the dead mice.
All right, Peter.
So actually, I was bouncing between two, and since you guys took the other one already,
Which one is that?
Teleportation.
No.
Because of all the reasons already listed, I'm going to go with telepathy, which I know is a weird one to pick, but some of the reasons for that are, one, you can figure things out faster. The main thing is having been burned by multiple people multiple times. Telepathy is something that can help you figure out if someone's lying to you or is, trying to play the system, as it were. And so that's kind
That's fair. I would have to make a rule though on that in Dungeons and Dragons you're not allowed to read the DM's mind because that's just cheating. I heard the
Ding,
echo on
ding,
that.
ding, ding. Peter fucked it up. Ding, 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 ding. Peter fucked it up.
we're back now.
And we're back because Peter fucked it up.
Yeah.
This is what happens when anything goes wrong.
Peter fucked it up.
Peter fucked it up.
Yeah.
The look on his face right now is so priceless.
Peter's cutting this out.
Better not.
We're gonna create theme songs, Peter.
Fantastic.
Peter fucked it up. Peter's incompetent. We got a list of names.
Oh, we have a lot. So
Peter's great.
Yeah,
Not one of
seems
them.
appropriate.
that was a fun little side tangent on that. But Jim said he has found some very stupid homebrew stuff that he wants to share with. He has enlightened us on one of them, but I'm see what will follow the one that he told us off air.
Okay, so for the record, I'm in a great many Dungeons and Dragons groups online because plagiarism is definitely a thing for basically every dungeon master. And so I just want your guys' takes on this. And so we already talked about this. Attack of opportunity should trigger when a creature enters an adjacent square, not leaving one.
I still can't wrap my brain around that. That they're taking the best part of 2 feats and just giving it to everything. What's the point? That's dumb. I don't understand. No one's going to want to be a melee character then because they're just going to get attacked all the time.
Yeah, not only that, but you got to think like because some people in the comments were like, it makes combat like more interesting because there are more attacks going on. I'm like, except the first round, because no player character is willingly attacked with all these opportunity attacks. They're going to be like, well, I hold my turn until they come at me. And then they're going to get a reaction and they're going to have the ready action then. It's like, so basically you're slowing down the first round for no reason. And then you're giving players an extra attack, which with action economy being as important as it is in Dungeons and Dragons, like it's so dumb because you're giving the players essentially, because the players are going to be smart enough to be like, oh, I'm not going to go there. It's
like maybe I could see something going on, like you are trapped in a weird room and it's like a spell or something that causes some weird rules, but it's like a one and done sort of thing. Like the players have to then adapt to this whole new way of doing it. Like I'm going to run up to this monk and swing my greatsword at it. As you get in there, he's going to punch you in the face as you get up from it. Like, wait, what? Yeah, you get close to him and he punches you in the face. Continue. And just make the players figure that out in one room or like a dungeon doing that. Okay, this is really weird. What's going on with this weirdness, or something magical is making it happen. But to be every single combat encounter, I feel it's going to get into some really weird meta of the game. And I don't think it's going to have the desired effect that people think it will, especially in the long run.
Right. Well, and you also have to think like when you do something like that, that only punishes melee characters because spellcasters aren't willingly going into that.
God, no.
So, like, I mean, yes, it punishes spellcasters a little with, okay, no, you have to disengage and move away or else you're going to get the crap beat out of you this turn. But, like, they're supposed to get past your front line before that anyway. In, like, normal Dungeons & Dragons. In this, it's like, no, spellcasters, you're fine. Barbarian, fighter, ranger, rogue, like, no, you're all getting attacked. Oh, you were you're running up for a sneak attack. Up, you entered their area. They get an attack of opportunity against you. What?
I had to say, being a swashbuckler rogue with their things and like trying to get people into duels, so he can sneak attack people who are 1-on-1 and forces them to come closer to him. Like, oh, come here. Oh, boom, here's a sneak attack on you before you can do anything. Good luck. Like, it just, I feel that could devolve quickly unless everyone was okay with just getting hit. But like, I feel like the players and everyone has to be okay with getting hit for that to work properly. And I haven't been at many tables where people actively are okay with that.
Yeah. No, that big of a change to the rules, like that's ridiculous. And like you said, basically you're nullifying part of Polearm Master feat, which allows you to do that, which is pretty great. And so, like, oh, no more of that feat. Like, there's no point to take it.
Well, that's when you just have you don't have to take polearm. Yeah, you just have a polearm and take sentinel, and you can cheese everyone to, oh, look, you're here, stop, you can't hit me now. You can't hit me now.
That's a level 1 fighter.
Oh, yeah. Take
level
a variant,
1 fighter.
Take a variant human who takes a polearm on that, take that, you're just going to be like, oh, stay away. I stab you.
Yeah. Best frontline ever at level 1. Just, nope, you can't get within 10 feet of me.
Stay. That was so much fun when I stopped Marion's aerial assault that one time. The stupid dive bombing reindeer, whatever it was. And I'm like, no, I get an opportunity attack against him, even from above, because I get to stab him from above.
It is for sure an amazing feat combo, but you expect that, like, minimally at level 4, like, or level 8 if you're not a variant human, which, at least for the Dungeon Master, then allows for like a larger pool of beasts to throw that have better range stuff, could potentially have like a legendary action or other special abilities that, you know, maybe they can parry. So, okay, fine. Like, you can do this, but they're also going to up their AC a little bit to parry this attack and then move in to attack you. Like, there's so many other things available at those levels, but like, yeah, at level 1,
those crabs are boned. Those crabs have no chance.
Oh, the wolves can't get near you. Oh no.
I'm gonna poke him with a stick.
Yep.
All right, what's the next one?
The next one is, let me get to it.
This part of the show is brought to you by no one, because no one is stupid enough to give us money to run this entire nonsense.
But if one day someone does, we will be eternally grateful.
Peter needs a better job, everyone. Please support him.
We're not even asking. We don't have a Patreon.
I didn't even want it for.
Just subscribe.
Just help Peter.
Help Peter. Yeah, I can't.
If we can get this video to 10 views and not even 5, it'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Oh God, I would be excited, but at the same time, like, it's still not good enough to get Peter out of that house.
And don't worry, for everyone who's here just for the D&D character creation, we're going to put a timestamp at the beginning of it so you can actually go to what's useful and not just us messing around.
But also, us messing around can be entertaining. So.
It can be, but we know why a lot of you are probably here, because we're going to help you create characters.
Okay, so
you want to listen to our shenanigans.
So the other one is this really weird question that someone actually allowed in their game. And it's this: if a wizard hypothetically was trapped in a room and was starving to death, could they just continuously cast find familiar, summon a bird, crab, or weasel to cook and eat, and give them lots of food, since familiars can be resummoned after they die.
But don't familiars just disappear as soon as they die?
Yes, that is how the spell works. But like I said, this is something someone allowed in a game.
What? But that just breaks
No.
the entire rules of the spell. So you either kill it to cook it and it disappears, or you decide to ingest it whole in case it will die and disappear, removing all nourishment with it. And it's made of magic. It's not even made of nutrients. It's not a carbon-based life form.
That's correct.
What? What?
Yep.
Oh my god.
This is just turning into pissing Alex off with other people's mistakes.
Like, I'm by no means a good DM. Like, I admit it. I'm probably crap. But what ruling is that? That makes no sense at all.
I would agree with you. Because, when they die, they disappear. So even if you're saying you could get some amount of sustenance from them, you're like, how long is that thing going to live as you digest it? Not long. And that's going to give you nothing.
You're not the Sarlacc.
You're not the Sarlacc, no. I feel like people don't realize, some people who don't know Star Wars don't realize that the Sarlacc actually keeps their prey alive and feeds off of them. So
it might
that's
be a helpful thing.
Yeah, it doesn't, like, Boba Fett survived because he didn't just die when he fell into the pit. He was alive down there, probably for a while, being fed on by the Sarlacc.
And he was wearing armor, so it's probably hard to get nutrients out of him too.
That's also true. The one other thing I could see as being at least semi-beneficial, let's say semi, is no, everything, no matter what, basically the wizard is fucked if he's trapped in a room and starving. Some people are like, well, you could like summon an elemental, but also when they drop to 0 hit points, they disappear. So that's the question. Like, if you summon a water elemental, could you drink some of the water elemental, keeping it alive long enough for you to absorb the water?
But is the water elemental salt or fresh water?
That is a good question.
Because I've only ever encountered water elementals in salt water. No, well, we never.
No, that's not true.
I didn't check what that water was in the dungeon. Never.
In that dungeon, that was fresh water.
Okay, well, there we go. So there's.
I don't think water elemental specifies fresh or salt water. But yeah, I mean, that's maybe that, but might as well get locked in there with your best druid friend.
Yeah.
Or ranger friend. Get good berry. And stay alive
just
forever.
hope you get something good. Trying to see. I'm currently looking up if there's any other spells that could be useful.
Not for wizards, not really.
Not really.
Like, that's why I said, like, that's kind of the next best thing.
If you had like snowball swarm, you probably get some water that way. Just conjure up some snowballs.
That's potential. You could try control water to like control any small amounts of water to sustain you. However, it's not going to be enough.
No. That's when I just hope you have blink and you just try to escape your predicament.
Yeah,
or
I mean,
any other way to
blink. I'm pretty sure wizards can learn Misty Step.
Yep.
So if you got like a view out of your room, Misty Step out of there. Uh, it's a wish.
You create wall of water to get some water at least.
Yeah.
I feel that is a lot more reasonable than summoning an elemental and trying to drink its fingers.
That might be fair. Really, there's not much. Like you're screwed for food. You'll survive. You might be able to survive past the 3 days you need for water.
You'll have to go cannibal on it.
You cut off your own leg and eat it.
Yeah, because you can't even like summon a fae because it will disappear when it dies.
Yeah. And like, from what if you're trapped in there, like, from what I can tell, you can't get something else to like really unlock the door for you, or even like go collect things from the outside and bring it in for you, because even like Unseen Servant doesn't specify, like, it doesn't say it can walk through walls. Like, it's invisible and mindless and shapeless in form, but that doesn't mean that there's no like physicality to it, because you can hit it, so there has to be some amount of physicality to it.
I mean, if at that point, if you're trying to do things like that, just hope we have like dimension door or teleportation. You just be like, and I'm out.
Yeah. Actually, do they even have dimension door?
They do. They do.
Oh, there it is. Yeah. It's about it. Escape or die.
Yeah, that's...
Well,
yeah, that's that's still just a strange ruling.
Yeah,
that,
very strange.
Like, I like the creativity of it, but it just doesn't work.
Yeah, no. Like, hey, I'm all down for rule of cool, do something crazy to like get through something, fine.
Oh, yeah.
But like when it is that far beyond like what the spell does, like your familiar is not that physical, and then they disappear when they die, so it's bad. It's bad. It's a bad call. But I'm sure some calls I've made are bad. It's all right.
I know we've all made bad calls. That's just how just how it is, and
that's part of learning to be a dungeon master. Like, you make some bad calls, you learn. So that's all I got today. I feel like we're probably going to do this every week, because every week people post online homebrew stuff, and every week I find bad things or good things potentially.
Yeah, I'm okay with if we could have a cool homebrew section too, not just things that make me want to throw something through my camera. All right. So now getting to the actual meat and potatoes of this episode, we are going to go through how to create a character for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. We're going to try to find a way to really break it down and make it really easy for everyone. If you have different books, it's going to all be in there, between the Player's Handbook, Xanathar's Guide to Everything, Volo's Guide to Monsters, and Tasha's Cauldron of Everything are going to be the main ones that you will need. Really cool website called 5e.tools, and it should give you everything that you need to make a character, or anything else you need for 5th edition, completely free. So unlike other things like D&D Beyond that make you pay for stuff, this is a really easy to use database that should allow you to do anything you need. In fact, I'm going to have that up here with me, and that's what I'm going to use as we're going through it.
Also, there are cool races in Eberron's and Artificer. So this is also a good book to use too.
But Artificer is now in Tasha's, so.
That's true. Mm-hmm. It's still a good book to use, okay?
Yes.
I didn't waste this money buying this book.
I say. So going on, I don't know how everyone else feels, but to me, when I start making characters, I try to picture the character in my head. What do I want this character to do? What type of character do I want them to be? Like, what am I picturing when I'm playing them? I generally don't start off with, I want to play this class or I want to do this race specifically. Then sometimes it can come like, I haven't played a bard yet. I want to play a bard, and I'll make a character off of that. But I always try to think of a character concept or an idea first, and then try to fit the race and the class around that. I don't know. What do you guys tend to do when you start by making characters?
Well, normally I'm the last person to make a character in a party. And so normally it's like, oh, we already have a wizard, a paladin, a rogue, and a fighter. What do we need? And I just fill the role with whatever we need. So I generally start with class and like, how do I want to, like, mechanically, how do I want to play? Do I want to be melee? Do I want to be ranged? Do I want to spell casting? And then from there, narrow it down to like particular classes. So like ranged, I could do a fighter, ranger, a little bit of rogue, spell casting. Well, we know this, the spell, if I want to do a mix of both, okay, a half caster, something like that. And then I kind of work my way through, you know, the labyrinth that I create in my own mind of flow chart of, you know, I want to hit things. Okay, here are all of the classes that hit things. Do I also want to do magic? Yes. Okay, cleric, paladin, druid, no, warlock can hit some things. No,
Hexblade is one of the best people at hitting things.
Hexblade is fantastic. Or like, no, I don't want to do spell casting. Okay, so barbarian, fighter, monk, rogue, and I just like go from there to specifically like what I'm looking for and what the party needs. So that's my process.
Peter, what about you?
Well, I've only created a handful of characters, so I wouldn't say that I have a fantastic system, but generally I kind of go for the class first. Just kind of a, hey, what do I kind of feel like doing, or what does the party need? And then from there I kind of decide what race I would like for fun. I very rarely optimize crap. I just go for flavor.
Say, don't look at me when it comes to optimize shit. That's,
Yeah.
I mean, I find a way to kind of optimize, but I don't start out in the conventional optimization. I don't stat chase.
I generally hope that I get good rolls for the stat blocks. And sometimes I'll take a feat if I need to bump something up on later.
So for me,
but generally I just kind of go the class, then the race, and then I just kind of flip through the different availabilities. Okay, what kind of, and then I start to construct the character in my head, and then I pick the backgrounds and the characteristics, and if I'm doing something quick, then I'll just pull out Xanathars and do the random rolls for the backstory. And I've had some really, really random and sad backstories because of that.
So
it wasn't even tragic, just sad.
Once I have the concept in my head, I will generally start going to class next. Class, because I'm like, all right, I'm going to start going through, all right, I'm going to look to see how the class actually works, and especially with all the subclasses that exist with it, because that's going to really tell me how that character concept that I have will actually come to life at the table. So I've gone through, like, I have started with ideas for, I want this character to, like, he wants to make stuff, so I've looked into like Forge Cleric, different things with like Artificer, even some way to Bard, like that he's found a way to perform with some of his crafting and things like that. But then once I get to narrow down, all right, I think I found this class that I like, I will then go to race. And I generally do this two ways. I will pick two races that are seen as the optimal ones, like, all right, which one's stats match this? And then I will go through and go, that'd be fun. reaction. I read all the races, and if I get a chuckle, I'll be like, that could be interesting. I will generally lean toward one of those, like wanting to do a Goliath Shadow Monk is one that I have always just wanted to see if I can make it work, just because I find it hilarious. It's like big guy, I sneak, and it's just this going to be the 7'7" guy sneaking through shadows and being good at it. Just something like that. Clearly not how it's meant to be, but it could just be really funny. And that's how I generally get
Just end
to
up being Kronk.
because if I ever are tied between two different races of something that's optimal and something that I think is just hilarious, I will go with the hilarious. The only thing that will generally trump that is if I need feats to do the kind of the build that I'm working on, I will start with a very inhuman, just because I want the fun will come from like the build that I'm doing rather than just the hilarity of what I'm trying to do. Like having a bastion of good but be a tiefling just for the discrimination of this guy doing everything good but everyone kind of looking down on him for it, even though he's done like he's literally the Steve Rogers of tieflings, but everyone looks down on him anyway. So that's where I get to. And then background, once I have the character concept, I will actually do my backstory before a background, because once I kind of know what I'm thinking, I'm like, all right, what background fits this? Because I kind of just see the background in all the books as, all right, I get extra stuff. I don't actually use that to really flesh much out. And it's because I made a rogue one time. I made an inquisitive rogue who was part of a guild. So I was able to do the guild artisan with that one specifically. So that was the one time it was kind of integral to the character. But most of the time, I just kind of look at which one kind of matches my guy the best. Okay, I picked that one. Let's carry on.
That's fair. For me, up to that point, like whether like I'm matching class and race together is pretty dependent on how the rest of the party built. Because you don't want to be in my experience, you don't want to be the person who's like very under optimized for the the lulls, the joke and the character, when everyone else has min-maxed their characters, because then you're just like, haha, but I have personality, and they're like, right, but you're useless here, go away. Like, oh, okay, my character will die because the DM also has to balance encounters for them, which makes everything harder, and I'm gonna die.
Yeah, I guess it also depends what your table is like. You always want to know who the people you're playing with, because if you're going to be doing a table that is mainly role play and the combat's kind of aside, have fun. Don't worry about anything. Peter, could you bring up like a fillable thing? We should make a character while we're talking about this. I think I'll make it fun so we can walk through the steps of doing it.
Perfect.
Yeah, one sec.
Yeah, sweet.
Producer Peter,
get on it.
With
we'll keep talking,
and I'll double your pay for doing this.
Because I think
him nothing.
If we can get a step-by-step way in how to do it, I think it could be a really good way of helping some new players out there to be like, hey, this is how we do it. And of course, this is the caveat. There are many ways to do it, but this is a way we feel is very simple and should make things easy.
Yeah. And I mean, always talk to your DM when you're creating characters. Like, I mean, this is what a session 0's for. This is what, like, pre-game chat with the rest of your party with the DM is for, like, making sure, you know, you are all talking, understand what other people are doing, and know kind of how your DM wants to build a character. Because for some of the basic things, like determining your ability scores, there are a number of different ways to do it. There is like in the book, it's basically roll 4 6-sided die and then drop the lowest number. But there are also some dungeon masters who want to be really strict and just roll 3d6. You're not dropping it, you're just rolling the 3d6. Some have a minimum on the number you can have. Some do some weird things like 5d6 reroll 2 or drop the bottom 2. Some
Jesus. That's
some I've seen 2d6 plus 4. There's point buyout, which
point buyout is a very simple way of doing it. I think that's the way if you're going to get into Adventures League. I believe it's point buyout is the way that you will do it. Point buyout is, I believe you have 27 points to buy all your stats start at 8, and then you essentially have 27 points to put in different stats till you make them all. Notice you cannot put more than 15 in any given stat with point buyout. That is the max that you're allowed to do with that system.
Yeah, I mean, like if you want to move it up to 9, it's a 1 point, 10, 2, and it scales there. It basically goes up by 1 until like 14, where it jumps by 2 points, then 15 jumps another 2. It's there's if you just like Google 5e point buyout calculator, it's right there. It helps you. What honestly, for quick one-shot characters and one-shots, I don't mind using a standard array. So a standard array can be done in point buyout. You have a 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, and an 8.
It's really simple. Yeah.
You have that. It's standard array because basically everyone takes it. Everyone has good stats. Everyone has bad stats. You have no one who is, and that's the advantage of point buyout. You have no one who's so much more powerful than everyone else.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, for a quick character build, standard array, perfect.
Yeah, it's really good, especially if you're like, oh shit, I have to play now. The point buyout is going to work. I mean, the standard array is going to work great because you don't have to think about it. You can just like, all right, what do I want to put in what stat? All right. Looks like Peter has
our thing.
Awesome. All right. So let's talk it through. What type of character do we want to make? What sounds fun that we can show people what to do?
Oh boy. This feels like it's going to get clipped for a video of its own. So,
oh, probably. But
character.
Let's do one that's a bit complicated so we can actually I'm thinking spellcaster. Let's do a spellcaster on here so we can go through the different stuff that you have to pick as well.
And, well, if we're want to go more complicated, let's do like a sorcerer, because then you get meta magic and stuff.
Yeah, I was thinking that, or maybe a warlock too, because that could be a bit complicated with it.
But warlock is like a half caster. Not even a full
That's fair. Okay, so a sorcerer, that's fun. What type? I say let's do a wild magic.
Wild magic sorcerer, love it so much.
So going to the wild magic, there's going to be different things going down. And the thing about sorcerers is you have to choose basically the path that you go down at level 1. It is not really something that you can kind of switch midway or kind of feel what you want to do and look at it. When you start, that's what it is. And this really goes into the backstory. All right, so we're a wild magic sorcerer. How did we get our wild magic as our point of contention?
Oh, that's well.
Let's make this character up to level 3 so we can do a few more stuff with it.
I agree. Let's see, because wild magic sorcerers tend to have gotten stuck or gone through different planes.
Yep.
What if your wild magic sorcerer got pulled into the Feywild, and the Fey basically used them as like a plaything to play tricks on, and then like as a boon when they sent them back, they gave them a blessing and made them a sorcerer.
That's a fun idea. Another idea that you had for it, say there was a wizard in your town that was doing some really weird experiments, and then one night, this really weird magic erupted from his tower, and it engulfed you. You thought you were feeling a little fuzzy, and then you wake up, and you just sent flames through the roof, and you didn't know what happened. And it could just be you woke up one day, and now you have these powers, and you're confused on how they got there, and you're kind of on this like, what's happening to me sort of thing.
I mean, either of those really work.
I'm just doing so people can have different options on it. Like, and this is
Yeah.
how I kind of come up with thoughts on characters and how your character will come about it, and because these are two very different characters and how they will act. One being experimented and harassed in the Feywild, and one just basically a superhero origin story.
He's going to do a superhero landing. He's going to do a superhero landing.
And his knees are broken. All right. So we've got a wild magic sorcerer. I'm going to go to races. And who are we? What seems like a fun idea for that?
Warforged, obviously. A robot wild magic sorcerer.
I mean, that's unique.
We'd be kind of like Grievous.
Oh my gosh.
We could be
Now
a
that
Warforged with, but we sprinkle in there. We have organic parts, and that's where the magic comes from. The combination of the gizmos and everything to keeping us together is wild magic. We were stitched together by a random entity. Oh, we have another background now here too. We were stitched together by a random entity that our body was put back together and is held together by the tides of chaos.
Yeah,
Don't put that one down. That's just an option.
it's a good option. I mean, Warforged are formed from a blend of organic and inorganic material.
Yeah. Okay, let's do it. We're doing a Warforged. That's just our bodies are held together by the tides of wild magic. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I mean, like your DM's probably gonna have to like approve this backstory a little bit because like root like cords infused with like alchemic fluid serves as their muscles, but you could be like, so the wizard just took like the actual muscles and use that. Like, okay, that's fine.
Especially with Warforged, just you'd have to probably get approval from the DM before you do it to begin with. But any of us will allow it in our games.
Well, because it is part of the Eberron book. See, I bought it for a reason.
You could do this in Adventures League because you're allowed +1, only one. You're allowed the player's handbook +1 supplement, and since it's in Eberron's, this is still allowed for Adventures League.
Yep.
Oh God, look at us. Okay. I haven't even really looked into Warforged a lot. I'm going to take this time. I'm going to look.
So here's the great thing. We have not looked at what ability score improvements or anything. This is happening. We don't care.
Okay. So let's take this time. Let's roll for stats so then we can start doing that. I will roll for stats unless anyone else has any things to that.
You can roll for stats. That's fine.
You do not want my rolls.
No.
Well, no one ever wants your rolls, Peter. Like
our first stat is a 10.
Oh boy, getting in the good ones, right? Yeah, throw that in. Throw that in intelligence right now. It's fine.
It doesn't. Yeah. Say our next one is a 14.
All right.
How I like to do this is I like to put it in like the other ones, and then I just move them over.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I guess you can throw it in like hit points or ideals or something like that.
Our next one is a 9.
Oh, maybe that's intelligence. Oh, that's a bad call. 9 charisma first.
Yeah, for a sorcerer. Okay. The next one is a 15.
15.
Maybe 2 more.
Yeah.
We have another 14.
Okay, 14.
Oh god. And the last one's a 17.
A 17. Okay, so while obviously our Warforged is not optimized for particularly for this, it's just obvious that you're going to put your best stats in the things that are meant for that class. So
Yes.
yeah, charisma being a 17, great. I would probably move the 9 to intelligence because intelligence is a dumb stat for everyone but the wizard.
Generally, yeah. Unless you want to go that this Warforged is a bit smarter, or because I could go something depending on how I do things, because I'm the person who would do this. I would go and maybe put, say, my one of the 14s into intelligence, but then make my wisdom the 9 because I'm smart enough to do something like this, but I'm not wise enough. Like when I make a warlock, sometimes I am smart enough to find out and seek this eldritch power, but I am also unwise enough to actually do it.
That's fair.
But that's just something I say on this one.
Or do we want to throw it in like dexterity or something?
I would say dexterity. I think we are not going to be a dexterous character.
Because also that could be one of the things where we're like, hey,
We're rusty. Our bolts are rusty.
Or we were even worse than this before, and this is an upgrade to our previous self.
I like that. Yeah.
After being made a Warforged.
Plus, we do get some ability score stuff, so that's good too.
Right. So as a Warforged, con will get increased by 2.
So I say keeping that one as a 14 is probably good.
Yeah. That get made to a 16. And then the last one can be put on whatever we want.
We have 2. We get choose any. At this one, I might actually use that on my dex to at least not have a negative modifier on my AC and other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a bad idea. Also, I mean, charisma is like 1 away, but we're making a level 3 character. In 1 level, we get an ability score increase, and you can take a feat that gives you that additional charisma along with other stuff. So yeah, I would probably throw it in dex.
Yeah, especially if your campaign is starting out at level 1, this will make you much more survivable because you could really have some trouble if you have such a low armor class.
Yeah.
All right, so now let's go into other racial feats that we got. Okay, so our size is medium. That's normal. Our speed is 30. We got 30-foot speed. That's a good one.
Pretty much everything but small creatures are 30.
Okay, alignment. Me personally, I throw alignment out the window and I just make the character I want to play. I don't know how our personality of this character yet, but I generally do not follow alignment charts because I kind of think they're stupid.
Okay, so here's what I'll say about that, because this is something often discussed and will probably be discussed at another podcast too. I wouldn't do alignment now. I would do alignment once I figured out what kind of person it is, because alignment is not a prescriptive trait that tells you how you are to act, but it is a descriptive of how you do act or how you are trying to act. So like a bad character who has a really bad past but is at this moment being good because they're trying to be good is a good character, or at least neutral, and not an evil character. And then it still allows you to do some bad things as a habit or a vice from your past, but it's not, it's not that you can't do anything bad ever, or that you have to do everything good, or that you always have to do bad things because you're an evil character. It's just generally across, it's the average of how you're acting or trying to act. So yeah, we can leave that blank for now.
Let's see next under some of the features. Oh god, Warforges are cool. We have advantage on saving throws against poison, and we're resistant to poison damage. That's really awesome.
at the same time, like you only need 6 hours of an inactivity, an emotionless state, instead of 8 hours for long rest.
And you're still conscious because you can still see and hear as normal, so you can keep watch while resting. That's really nice.
You just activate when you need to.
You don't need to eat, drink, or breathe, which can be really handy, especially depending on the type of campaign you're running. You're immune to disease. Also could be very, very helpful. And the thing, you don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. That's also stupid helpful. Ooh, you get a +1 bonus to your AC. That's nice.
Yep. You can don only armor with which you have proficiency. To don armor, you must incorporate it into your body for the course of 1 hour. So, I mean, basically you have to attune to your armor.
Yeah.
It doesn't count as attuning.
But it says you can also rest while doing it. So that's...
Yeah.
Well, it can't be removed against your will. That's nice.
Yeah.
Ooh, we get 1 skill proficiency and 1 tool proficiency of our choice. That's handy.
And then common in 1 other language. So what would this Grievous-esque Warforged speak? Because I do enjoy it.
You gotta look into languages for it. Just... Yeah. All right.
So, I mean,
we could get it into a language spoken by the people that stitched you together.
Yeah.
So I would say let's make it something a bit more interesting. What if we do something like either celestial or primordial?
I mean, that's assuming you're being stitched together by elementals or celestials.
Yeah, that's fair.
But Warforged generally made on the material plane. So you could do like gnomish.
Yeah. Or say undercommon. It's something that's a bit more common in the Underdark, because something like this might not be the most, what they did to it, not the most pleasant of things. So it might be a bit more common in the Underdark than normal out and about.
Well, and you could also, I guess, supposedly put it that you know a language of whatever enemy it is that you were created to destroy.
Oh, so good. Yeah, I like that.
So then, like, undercommon would be a good one if you were sent down to fight in the Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that.
Yeah, that could. I like that. Common and undercommon.
Yeah.
Okay, so our normal 2 proficiencies that we get are, we get to choose 2 from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion.
As I flip around the books, because I enjoy having paper.
I'm going to say Intimidation should be one of the ones that
as a Warforged, yeah. Intimidation sounds great.
It's in the middle. And going on how I don't really make optimize things, I don't think we should put Arcana. I don't think we know really what we're doing.
But couldn't you say potentially Arcana for the fact that, like, we know about ourselves in some form, and Arcana being kind of what has created us?
Yeah. I guess we could do that too.
Yeah, I mean, because we also get a random one from being a Warforged.
That's true.
So I'd be okay with Arcana on that,
Okay.
just because like we're a Warforged. Arcana is part of what created us, and so we know a bit about that, and just simply how magic works, because since it kind of holds our body together.
All right, and then we get one other one. Which one do you think we should grab?
Well, since the Warforged one can be anything.
If we're going for a grievous thing, you could do acrobatics.
Yep, I like it.
We're not dexterous, but we're proficient in acrobatics. I love that. I love that a lot.
Me too.
All right, good. I like that. We also get proficient in Constitution and Charisma saving throws. All right. So I think we should probably this character's stuff should probably focus a lot on battlefield control and other stuff like that, because we are going to have an amazing concentration.
Yes.
All right, so we got that down. All right, so that's basically everything from the actual. Then, like the actual appearance of it, that's all just what you would like on there. So you can just do whatever you want with that.
Yeah.
They give you like some base stuff at the classes, but at the end of the day, as long as your DM is okay with it, do whatever you want. And that's so. Peter, come up with what do we look like?
Say what?
Come up with what we look like. You get to pick.
What we look like.
Yep.
Do we have bronchitis?
I wasn't expecting that. We might.
Okay. So while he's thinking of that, Jim, let's look at our background. So are we going to do it like what we were before we were this Warforged, and that kind of carried over?
Yes.
Right,
Absolutely.
So what were we before we were in this monstrosity of a thing?
A part of me wanted to say like entertainer.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah. I'd say we were probably something if we were put in this situation to begin with, we were probably something that at least travels a lot and would have some reason to kind of be going into the Underdark and something like that to begin with.
Okay. Well, probably not a hermit then.
No. Say, an urban bounty hunter. We got caught up in a job, and it went horribly wrong.
That's why we've replaced our body.
Yep. Or who we got sent to collect a bounty on had their way and did something that we were not wanting them to do.
No, we work for them.
Yeah. Okay, so we can choose 2 skill proficiencies from Deception, Insight, Persuasion, and Stealth. I would say Deception and Persuasion probably of those 2 probably be quite good.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Oh, we get
however, this is where we have gone off being a adventure league, because this is from the Sword Coast Adventures.
That is true.
So this is no longer.
Which background is it again?
Urban bounty hunter.
Yeah. So this one we've officially gone off. Hey, we at least got to background before we started.
We got
too weird.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I know Adventures League is is a big thing for some people. I've never played an Adventurers League. I don't think anyone here has.
I'd be willing to give it a go, though.
Yeah, I'd be willing to give it a go. I just don't know of like too many people who have done it. Most people I've run into have mainly just done like home games, running things out of the book with their friends, things like that. So,
all right. We also get 2 tool proficiencies from this. Actually, so in total we'll have 3 because we get one from being a Warforged.
yes.
So we're
So
proficient in Thieves' Tools. I think that should be one of them.
Thieves' Tools, and then a musical instrument.
I gotta see. Do we have a list of tools on there? Let me look at this database. Perfect. Okay.
In the player
So-
handbook, it's 154.
So I don't think we'll probably use an instrument if we don't have to.
Well, for Urban Bounty Hunter, it's
Yeah.
2 from one type of gaming set, 1 musical instrument, and Thieves' Tools.
That's true.
Then we get a second thing of tools from being a
Yeah.
Warforged. So we already chose Thieves' Tools. So we either need to choose a gaming set or a musical instrument for Urban Bounty Hunter. Which, you know what? Pan flute. This big Warforged just sitting there playing the pan flute. Fantastic.
That's really funny. It's just part of it.
Yeah, they just pop up and just.
Yeah.
Yep.
I like it.
That's the thing.
And then I think for our other one, we should do Tinker's Tools because it's small enough that we can make little patches to ourselves. Like we can't do unless we want to do like Smith's Tools. Actually, probably Smith's Tools would probably be
Smith's Tools to fix like patch metal parts and
yeah.
all that. Yeah.
So we can at least quasi repair ourselves if need be.
Yeah. Then a set of clothes appropriate for your duties in a pouch containing 20 gold pieces. I mean, Warforged don't need clothing, but what if he just wore clothing anyway?
We have a cape because we're extra that way. We wear a cloak because
Deal.
all right, love it.
I'm not going to fight that. Yep, a cape. Perfect.
We have no armor proficiencies, by the way.
Really?
Yep, because we're a sorcerer.
Boy, that's
That's
unfortunate.
right. Yes, very
Thank
unfortunate.
God we got a +1 to AC.
So what is our AC? What 11 starting off right now?
No. I don't think so.
Well, I mean, if we put the numbers into the stat blocks, then maybe we could figure all that out too.
It might be 11.
Because it's 0 on Dex plus our +1.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
We have made a horrible mistake. Don't care.
Nope.
This is when you use your first feat at level 4 to get lightly armored.
Yeah.
You survive long enough to get lightly armored, so you could at least put on like. See, it's still not even great, but it's something.
It's better. Or we just take mage armor.
Or do we do the more optimized thing and put switch strength and dex? I know it, but we're gonna die.
Do we have to?
We don't have to. I'm not playing as this character.
That's true. All right. So we'll do it just so we make I personally like the idea of having this really strong still thing because of the Warforged on there. But if we switch that, I say leave strength at 9 and give that 1 point to the strength to give it up to 16. Just to get that one more little boost to it.
He does it begrudgingly.
Yes.
Mainly because I want an armor class more than 11.
So it's now 14.
14, yes.
That's more acceptable.
Yeah.
And we're going to take shield, so at least that can get us up to 19.
Yeah.
There. And instead of taking lightly armored, if I take a feat, I would take the Eldritch Initiate just to cast Mage Armor at will.
That's fair.
I think
don't have
that
to worry about that right now.
no, we're not worried about that. Okay, so we got through that.
We got through that.
We did. Now, so the different stuff we need to do for our sorcerer. We're going to have to start picking some spells. Is there anything else, like mechanically, we need to throw? Oh, hit points.
Hit points, yeah. So that is 6 plus our con modifier, so
Starts
starting
at
off
9.
with 9.
That's nice.
And then we're just doing the 4 plus
Yep.
3, so 14 more to that. So
That's not terrible.
No, 23 hit points at level 3.
That's not bad at all. It's actually a very respectable start on
Yeah,
there.
for a sorcerer, they're quite respectable.
What's going to be our arcane focus? Just because I like the I like the flair of that.
A thing. They can make an arcane focus. That's what it's going to be.
I was thinking, especially this would be like DM's approval, but like kind of like the core of our system or something like that can be the arcane focus, or something within the body.
Be like a crystal in the chest or something like that.
Yeah, something
Or
like
in the
that.
chest,
That it's in there.
So they're both legitimate arcane focuses.
Yeah.
Perfect. Perfecto. Because we're not using a component pouch. Yeah.
No. Who uses component pouches?
Probably a lot of people.
Weird people.
Yeah.
All right, we got through that. Now, is anything we got to do? Our font of magic. So we got that. We have our sorcery points. We get to the 3rd level. We get to pick our meta magics. We get
Indeed.
to pick.
Well, so before we get to that, let's just make sure we have all like the sorcery origin stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
So like as a wild magic sorcerer, you get your wild magic surge, where you can, if you roll a 1, you can use oh no, that's Tides of Chaos, I'm thinking. So wild magic surge, if you're casting level 1 or higher, you roll a d20. If you roll a 1, a random magic effect happens from the table. That's that. The Tides of Chaos is what I was thinking was if you basically if you need to re-roll something because it's bad for attack roll, ability check, saving throw, you can just create advantage and re-roll that,
Which is very nice.
Yep. Stop it, books.
All right. Then we got that stuff down. Now it's time to pick our meta magics, and then we'll go and pick some spells.
Yeah. Oh, the meta magics.
So we get
2? Yeah.
yes, we get to pick 2. There's some good ones.
There are.
Ooh. So, of the meta magics, you have things like Careful Spell that allows you to basically force anybody caught in one of the effects of your spell to succeed their saving throw automatic by spending a sorcery point. Distance Spell that you essentially, by spending a sorcery point, you can double the range of any spell. And if the spell has a range of touch, that is now 30 feet. So essentially a version of Spell Sniper, but you have to spend a sorcery point for it.
Mm-hmm.
Empowered Spell that you get to spend 1 sorcery point to re-roll your damage dice up to your charisma modifier. So if you have say an 18, you can re-roll 4 of your damage dice if they're bad. Extended Spell, so you can spend a sorcery point to double the duration of any effect on a spell to a maximum of 24 hours. Heightened Spell, you can cast a spell to make the saving throw harder to resist. So you spend 3 sorcery points to give 1 target disadvantage on their saving throw. Quicken Spell, this one gets a bit confusing. So how it is, you get to spend 2 sorcery points to change the casting time of a spell to a bonus action. This has to be done carefully because how the order in which you do things matter. So what you're essentially doing is you are taking a spell, because you can only cast 1 spell per turn with your action. So you are taking that spell and making it a bonus action. So therefore, the next thing that you do, if you can cast again, but it has to be a cantrip. You cannot cast 2 spells in that. It has to be the spell that you quicken goes first, then the cantrip afterward. Is rules as written, that's how it is. Some DMs might not care and let you go back and forth on this, but rules as written, that is how it is. And say then you can have Subtle Spell. When you cast a spell, you can spend 1 sorcery point to cast it without any semantic or verbal components, which can be really cool if you want a character who wants to be kind of sneaky and all that, and just spells happen. And then you have Twin Spell. This one is really cool because it scales with your class and different spells. So if you cast a spell that only targets 1 person and does not have the range of self, you may then spend a sorcery point, or the sorcery points equal to that spell level, to cast that spell again on a different target. So say you have Firebolt, the cantrip. I can cast it to hit 1 person, then spend a sorcery point to then cast it at somebody else. Or if you cast the 6th level spell, Disintegrate, you can spend 6 sorcery points to cast Disintegrate again on another target.
You're terrible, Alex. You're just horrible.
As you can see, Jim being mad. I may or may not have done this in one of our games against one of his big bats.
You've done it more than once.
I have. Oh, I did against meat golems as well.
And the stone golems.
Yes, and at least one of those things have crit failed against me.
Correct.
I rolled like 136 damage on that guy because I upcast the Disintegrate when I did that.
We also, do crit fails and successes outside of attack rolls. So
because it's fun that way.
It is fun that way.
So going on those we also have some Tasha's meta magics too that I forgot about. We also have Seeking Spell. If you make an attack roll for a spell and miss, you can spend 2 sorcery points to re-roll the d20, and you must use the new roll. You can use Seeking Spell even if you already used a different meta magic during the casting of the spell. This is another one that I forgot to mention. With the exception of, I think, Empowered Spell, most meta magics you're only allowed to use once per turn. So you can't stack different ones unless it specifically says. So certain things, like you can't twin the spell, then extend it. You can only pick one of them. But for things like Seeking or Empowered, it doesn't matter if you used a meta magic, you can use this one as well. Transmuted spell. When you cast a spell that deals a type of damage from the following list, you can spend a sorcery point to change that damage type. So essentially, you can change fire to lightning, lightning to poison, thunder to acid, something like that.
Super helpful if you're dealing, especially once you get to higher levels and things have resistances. You may not know what they are because you're not metagaming like an asshat, and you go, oh, that didn't work the last time. Okay, sorcery point. I'm going to change it to cold this time, or I'm going to change it to poison or thunder or whatever.
Yeah. Let's see. I think this is really what do we want. We talked about possibly doing a lot of like area of effects stuff in this one, right?
Yeah. So I think distant spell, because talking area of control and being able to especially hit them first so the party can get into position.
I think that's a good one, but I think that might be in our 5th level meta magic option, because we don't have a lot of good area of effects right away, and I feel like we might be able to use something earlier. Like I would say Quickened early on might be good, so you can toss out a couple of cantrips right away. It could be really useful at lower levels.
So Quicken and like Careful, how about?
Careful, I think, is always good, because when
we're doing that area of effect stuff that we do have, we can keep our friends from being hit by it, and then Quicken to keep tossing out those cantrips.
I think that's a good one. All right. And that looks like that is everything we need for our 3rd level character. So we have 3 sorcery points.
Yeah.
So Peter, if you can go down to the spell section of that character sheet, we're going to get into, we have spells to pick. So
at this level, we only know 4 spells and we know 4 cantrips. We have.
We have 4 first level spell slots.
Yep. And 2 second level.
Yep. Our spell casting ability is Charisma. Our spell save DC is
8 plus proficiency modifier, which is +2, so 10 plus 3, 13.
Okay.
And spell attack bonus should be +5.
Yep. Perfect.
Right.
So we know. Let's start with the cantrips. So we get to know 4 cantrips. We get to know 6 total, unless we do other shenanigans, which I have been known to do in making of sorcerers. But
indeed,
let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, and sorcerers got to add a whole bunch of other stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, there's a bunch they can do now.
Yes.
So
I think we should have a couple damage and a couple like kind of utility stuff.
So prestidigitation, always.
That's a good one.
Literally always. Mainly because you can just do a bunch of random stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's basically all harmless, and it's such a fun spell just to have. I'm just going to use prestidigitation for these like minor effects.
I would say for the flavor, Mending. I think that would probably fit into this character build pretty good. Plus, it's a useful cantrip, but I think it would also fit the flavor of this character really well.
So what? Okay, so then what about for a more damaging one, lightning lure, where they must make a strength saving throw or be pulled 10 feet towards us in a straight line, take 1d8 damage if it's within 5 feet of us. So we can just like pull people towards us and let the party beat up on them. We're just picking out individuals from the crowd.
Or we can then use that. And what's the range on that? It's only 15 feet. It's only 15 feet.
Yeah, you're right.
I love the idea of that if it was a 30-foot. But that 15 feet, and it gets them right next to us, and we've already established that we're pretty squishy.
But we could do distance spell meta magic.
Or take Spell Sniper.
All right,
But
no,
that-
you
that's
make
one-
a good point about that. That is very close range.
I think your standard Firebolt, it's early on. It's probably one of the best damage dealing cantrips you can do if you can't have Eldritch Blast.
Or you made the comment of like using the quicken spell for 2 cantrips.
Yeah.
What if Lightning Lure and Sword Burst?
Ooh.
So they get pulled 10 feet towards us, take 1d8 damage there, and then Sword Burst. They must make a Dex saving throw, take 1d6 force damage.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. And I'd like how we basically zap someone to bring them close, kind of with the Warforged type stuff. And then we have like these sort of blades or things attached to our body where we can spin our arms really fast and just kind of attack them magically.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. I like that. And we get 2 other cantrips as we go on. So I think once we get the next level, the 4th level, I say we should probably take something like Message. Because it's just a useful one.
Message is useful, but also like Firebolt at that point, not a bad idea since like having some ranged cantrip.
Yeah, we will definitely need something within range on that. And
I mean,
cantrips have limited use utility wise, but
yeah, 'cause I like mending for the flavor is nice. But you could easily drop that for like Firebolt.
yeah, that's fair.
All
right,
so that's an option.
So now we have to pick we know 4 spells.
4 total spells. So shield.
Yes, shield is happening.
Because we have little armor class.
Yeah.
Is that a first level or second?
That's a first level. Yeah.
All right. So it's what 2 of each maybe on that.
I mean, I would probably go like a 3-1 split
Fair
on
enough.
this. Because we can always upcast the first level ones if we need it, but we can't downcast a second level.
Say early levels, sleep is a good one.
Yeah,
This is
sleep
probably one we will drop as we gain levels, but early on, sleep is useful.
Yeah.
And then I would say either something like Chromatic Orb or Magic Missile.
Or Ice Knife.
Ooh, Ice Knife is good. Actually, I like Ice Knife. Let's go Ice Knife. That's a fun one.
Yeah. Love Ice Knife because you get to shoot and potentially hit someone for 1d10, and then hit or miss regardless, the shard explodes, and everything within 5 feet must succeed a dex saving throw or take 2d6. So even if you miss, they're then making a saving throw to try to hit, and if you shoot that into a crowd, you're getting someone.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And a second level to play with.
There's a lot of fun second levels that you will probably be switching out as you get later on because you'll have more spell slots to play with, especially utility-wise. But starting off, I'm thinking we do something like, what was it? Web could be really good, so we get some of that battlefield control in there because that's something we wanted to do.
Yeah. you could go that route. Or, riddle me this one, Batman. Blur.
Blur is good. That's a very good defensive one.
Turn 1, you're casting Blur. Turn 2, you're pulling someone in and then hitting them with Sword Burst. Then they try to hit you back and they can't.
Yeah. So we can essentially, how much does that increase? Yeah, so it doesn't even matter that we have a lower AC. The fact that we have Blur going and we can shield if need be,
Yeah.
that could help a lot.
Like, this is kind of a staying alive until level up.
Because until we get those third level spots, it's harder to use a lot of stuff utility wise.
Yeah.
Because there's many things that I would drop out and add. Like, I'm going to pick up at some point, we should pick up invisibility for when we can get that for some utility, so you can have that, which is really useful. I would say we would probably want Misty Step at some point.
Yeah.
Just because it's really useful. Depending on the things we want, Suggestion could be really worth it. Because like second level has a lot of good utility stuff on there that we don't necessarily need it for the combat ones. Like there's a couple good combat ones in there as well. Like Tasha's Mind Whip is in there. Mind Spike is in there. Scorching Ray, it's good, but could be better. But there's a few. Suggestion is a good one. I don't know if I said that already. I might have.
You have. Yeah.
Okay. But there's some good stuff that you'll get later on that you'll want to use.
Yeah. So that's, it's really kind of how you want to play. These are the spells we've picked up, but at the end of the day, like, to me, because at third level, you're still pretty weak as a spellcaster in all of the primary spellcasters, except maybe like Druid, because you can
Shillelagh your way around it.
Shillelagh, and you can Wild Shape and get an extra pool of hit points.
And maybe some clerics, because they can be tanky.
Yeah, but like wizards, sorcerers, things of that nature, like it's about staying alive, because early game you're super weak and you get really powerful late game as you start moving up through the levels. And so it's kind of like, what can I do to stay alive and be useful for the team until I start destroying everyone with fireballs. Lots and lots of fireballs.
And other just really fun ways to destroy them as you get to high levels.
Yeah.
But mostly fireball.
But fireball.
Yeah. But overall, that's just kind of the process that a lot of us go through to make characters. And it is just one way of doing it. But it really is just kind of, we come up with this idea and we kind of let it flow just as we see things and want to pick it up, and just it kind of just forms into being. It's a lot of, some people go into character creation with like this really hard, like, I must fit this thing into this mold. And that might leave you up for disappointment, because you might not be able to make exactly that. Or if you might see something cool, but if it doesn't fit the mold, you won't do it. Like, leave yourself at least a little open, because that could really, you won't know where you find yourself when you do it.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, this game is about having fun. And like,
yeah,
I mean, yes, making a cool, really powerful character for the specific thing you want to do is great. But when you then get out of that specific spot, you're like, oh, I have nothing else to back this up, because I made this character for that one specific thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it becomes so much more, or so much less fun. And so just being like, just kind of more open to like the flows of creativity, just so you can have fun basically anytime. Having utility outside of that specific thing, I think, is just better for the game, because hey, you're here to have fun. Like, let's have fun before, building the best of everything character.
And please, if you're a spellcaster, give yourself utility. Don't load up so much on damage dealing spells that you can't do anything outside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is a lot better to be a one-trick pony in combat and have the right spell when you need it, when you're not fighting someone, than to be able to kill the same thing 10 different ways. You can only kill it once. And then when the party needs you to like cast an arcane lock or move you somewhere or just something else and you can't, it's definitely frustrating. And you'll find yourself trying to completely rework your spell book if you haven't set it up right.
And also with spellcasters, buffing and debuffing is as important as dealing damage.
Mm-hmm.
We tend to forget that because a lot of people view the killing blow or how many points of damage you did to the monster as like the end all be all of how useful you were. But if your Bane stopped them from hitting the front line 2 times, that's huge.
Like one of my favorite spells to use for 5th level is Synaptic Static, that deals some decent psychic damage, but also if they fail to save, basically everything they do from then on for an hour, I believe it's either a minute or an hour, I don't remember. They have to subtract a d6 from everything they do, which it can save people's lives. Between hits, their spell saves, it's the buffing and debuffing, and people forget that a D4 buff or debuff is still really powerful because it can mean the difference. Like anyone who's played anything long enough, a +3 weapon will break a game if given too early, and that's just a straight +3 weapon to something. Now you have the potential for a +4 from level 1, depending on the class you're using.
Yeah.
It can really save you.
Oh yeah, and it's
just remember to use it if you are blessed. Don't make the cleric remind you every single turn that you're blessed, because the cleric won't bless you anymore if you do that.
Right, it gets annoying. But yeah, I mean, hey, we've made crazy characters before. We'll make them again. It's just a little into our minds. Heck, we've done it for people in the past. We might do it in the future for some of you if you want it. We will make crazy characters for people and sit with you and come up with great, like, funny ideas, because that's what me and Alex do for our friends. They're like, oh, I need this character, and we're like, let's create something ridiculous and funny for you.
Yeah, and we just might just make some characters because it's fun, because I think we both like creating characters.
Oh yeah,
and just like kind of delving into, especially if I know the lore of a certain thing. Like I was able to create a Tempest Cleric that was a native species to this plane of existence that we were on. So I got to kind of integrate that into the backstory, and we started doing some weird tables, and it got to be this really cool epic thing. And this person and my character had a vision and thought they were part of a chosen one prophecy, so they're kind of going off on this whole thing. Whether they are or not is a whole different story, but they think they are. And they are the first person, like, in their tribe to use weave magic, when most people in that area only had like a kind of a blood magic. And it was just a really cool way of moving things around. And I just have so much fun thinking of these different things. And especially when I start off with an idea and I end up somewhere completely different, but I love where I ended up. And just that growth process with how characters work is just fun for me. So if anyone has any ideas on how something, you want to kind of make something work, please let us know. I would be more than happy to take a look at it and just see what we can do. Or give me a fun character idea and challenge us to see if we can do it and make it viable.
Yeah.
At an actual level of play, not like once you just get to high level.
Yeah.
Because I say if we can make something work by 8th to 10th level, we can make it viable. If it's something, if you have to wait till like 12th, I don't know if it's quite viable.
Yeah, a lot of campaigns peter out at that point.
Yeah.
Or are just finished.
I also think it'd be fun to look into some different multi-classing options on how
to
multi-class, what's a fun way of doing it, and actually making it align story-wise and not just because you want to.
Yeah, we will definitely have to do some of that. But I think that pretty much covers our ideas of character creation, at least in 5th edition, and kind of walking you through it. So how's everyone's drinks?
Empty.
Delicious.
I love it.
Perfect.
Mine
Peter,
was pretty boring.
thanks, Karen.
You're welcome.
I am feeling this and still wide awake, so I think it worked.
Oh God, it's a good thing you don't sleep anyway. Otherwise, this could have been a problem.
Oh yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I still got like 4 hours, so I'm supposed to sleep.
Yeah.
We record these at night, by the way, and it'll go up at like noon. So no, I don't go to sleep at 4 p.m. I go to sleep at like 2 a.m.
On a good day.
On a good day.
All right. Well,
And then
thank
we don't
everyone.
talk about other days.
Thank you. If anyone made it this far, thank you for closing out this second episode of the Drunken Dice podcast. This was a lot of fun. Hopefully, we can keep doing this, and we'll see y'all later.
And I think next week we got Star Wars: Edge of the Empire. So, if you're confused about character creation in that or that game, tune in because we'll be doing more of this.
I'm not doing the outro again.
Nope, no, that's fine. No, it's been done. We're just gonna let this. This is really all about when Peter decides this is over at this point.